So if I were to whiteboard, can you see my whiteboard? Kind of what I wanted to cover today. Basically, like what does it take to like live stream, right? So yesterday, just to kind of give us a refresher, what does it actually take to like teach someone to live stream? So we talked about software, right? And we talked about equipment, right? And we talked about like branding and graphics, right? And so like I saw that some of your slides were already made, which is great, right? Your slide decks are already like curated, it's already sharp. So those are some of the things to kind of think about. So the software that we're using, did you get a chance yesterday to kind of look at OBS at all?
Yeah, I did. I downloaded it. It asked for some things like on the settings and auto setting, or I was going to ask you if you can walk me through it, which ones, they said, do you want it, is it mainly for recordings mainly or for live streaming and record or something like that? And it was going to set up a certain way, but I didn't know what to click or something.
Right. It's a little complicated, right? It's not exactly the most user-friendly because it's free.
Exactly.
You get what you pay for, but it's great. I mean, for the quality of what it does, I think it's an incredible piece of software. So generally, I kind of want to cover first off, just the idea. So we have software being one of the most important pieces, right, of what we use. And then when you think about software, you kind of want to think about three things, right? You want to think about storage, like where am I actually going to put all the content that I'm creating, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then content creation, which is like what type of application am I going to use to stitch the videos together or the PowerPoints together? What type of things? So in your case, it would be the PowerPoint, right? You're going to use the Google PowerPoint edition to do that. You're also going to think about maybe KineMaster to do, or iMovie or something like that will stitch your video together, right?
Yeah.
So basically, whatever pieces that take to make your video, and you're going to think about, and within that, you want to think about audio, right? So there's going to be some audio software that you might want to look into, because sometimes when you record a lecture or you might record or interview someone, the audio is really terrible, right? And it's better to have a rule of thumb is like, if you have bad audio, no one cares, right? Even if your image is really nice, they can't understand you, right? So it's very crucial to have good.
Is that the equipment piece that's important, like a microphone or something, or is it the software piece?
It's both, right? So definitely equipment. I think in terms of audio, equipment is valuable. But since you already have like a Zoom H6n, that should provide sufficient like audio recording abilities. But where the software comes in is, let's say that you have some humming in the background or some electronic like feedback that's coming off all weird in the room that you're using. You want to be able to erase that background noise. And so that's some of the things that you can do in software.
Editing the sound.
Right. Just editing the sound, purely the sound. And so we don't have enough time to talk about that today, but just to give you an idea, those are some of the pieces that have to like come in together. And the third part is content, right? Content, I'll just call it content dissemination. Right, so you need, you have storage, you have content creation, and content dissemination, which is like basically what you were talking about. I recorded my lessons. I recorded the elements on Church Sunday. And I've created this service that I now want to push out. So it really comes down to, are you going to live it on YouTube, right? So are you going to live it on Facebook, right? There's a lot of like platforms that you can live stream from, right? But obviously at church we use YouTube. And the reason why we use YouTube as opposed to like Facebook or any other platform is that it's really easy to access and to give out the keys to people, right? You can copy and paste a link, text it to a buddy and say, hey, love this message, check it out, right? So there's not a lot of like hand-holding, right? You need to, okay, by the way, get the Zoom link, get the password, log in. And by the time people log in, they're so flustered, they're angry, they're not even thinking about the meeting, they're thinking about, when can I get off? This is so freaking annoying, right? So you
Yeah.
don't want that, right? You want to make it as easy as possible for people to click on it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's kind of the logic, right, behind why do we choose YouTube instead of Facebook or whatever, right? Um, so that's the software piece, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now let's no, go
Okay.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Uh, the ease is you pick YouTube because of the ease to just send, hey, this is a good message. Here's a link. Just go, and it goes straight to that, and you're ready to rock and roll. Or
Right,
they're going to be able to see it without, as opposed to other platforms. Now, the uh, the now that link, it could be a private key, you said, or a public key, depending on how you wanted to do it, or something.
right. So YouTube typically has uh, three ways to share. You got number one, which is private.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is unlisted, and number three is public. Right? So those are kind of like the three aspects that you can use to share. Now, you can't password protect, right? Um, that comes again more of an IT issue when we go into content dissemination and management, right? How do you want to share your content, and how do you want to protect your content, right?
So if I shared a link that was to a private, and then I did not want that person to have access after a certain day, and that day shows up, then could I unlist him from the private access to that?
So the way that the private analogy works is that it's me only. It's only for you. You cannot. No one else can actually use private but you, right? As the owner of the YouTube account.
But no one can see it without my, but they can see it with my permission though, right?
They can, but I don't recommend that because if they have access to your account, that means they can edit, delete, download all your content on their computer and all that type of stuff. So you don't want to hand out your password key to anybody pertaining to your YouTube account. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So the only other option that you do have if you choose to go with YouTube
Yeah,
is this one, right?
unlisted.
The unlisted. Because the unlisted means that your links won't be publicly, shared.
Uh-huh.
And two, whoever has access to the link will be able to access the the um, the content. And then three, when they're done, let's say after a week, just turn it off to private, and they can't
Oh,
access it anymore.
anymore.
Right?
Oh, I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah. Now, if you, let's say, I mean, now we're going to if we cross into like some IT information here, is content management. Maybe YouTube might not be the best platform for you to share, and that's a reason why some master classes they don't use YouTube as a platform to disseminate information, right? They use something like Playwright, or they use something like Canvas, or they use something like
I've heard of
Udemy,
Canvas.
right?
Uh-huh.
So certain aspects, uh, YouTube is meant for video sharing. It's not meant for purely educational slash IT content management system. It's not built for that, right?
Okay.
And so if you desire a more higher security, and you desire like for each and every one of your students to have a private account that only they can access any given
Uh-huh.
time, and then you can revoke their access, then we need to explore something else. And I think that's a different conversation, right? In terms of, because that comes in with like how do you want to manage your data after you create all the pieces. And we don't have enough time to go into that, but we can explore that later on, right?
Okay.
And because that's more of like the final piece, right? Because if you
Right,
don't have
right.
content, it really doesn't matter if you have a nice content,
Right.
right? It's like, what's the
Yeah.
point?
Yeah. No,
Right?
gotcha.
So yeah, so the first part is just understanding, right? Like, all right, software. The second part is pretty important, which is equipment. And for our sake for today, we're really talking about just let me pull it right down here. It's really the webcam, right? I mean, for you and for me, Most people, we only have access to a normal webcam, like the one that we're using to Zoom or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But let's say that you want to up the ante.
Yeah.
You want to be able to make a professional looking live stream. Like I think our church is getting to that point. I think, where
Mm-hmm.
it is the quality of the picture is sharp. It's moving at HD. The lighting is almost there. We're in the process of procuring lighting equipment. But from the most basic fundamental level that you're trying to do, Davis, is like I think your webcam is sufficient, right? So that's number one. And number two is really an audio recording device, right? And in your case, you're using an H6N Zoom. I
Mm-hmm.
recommend what you should do, and I'll
Yep.
show you how to do this, is that to hook up your H6N directly into your laptop so that you can actually record and use it kind of like a microphone, not just
Oh,
a
okay.
recorder, but as an active listening microphone, rather than the native one that's built into your HP, right? So
Use the Zoom into the laptop to be the computer's main microphone versus
yes.
one that's already just built in.
Correct. And
Okay.
the reason for why we do that is because I'm sure when you go back to our Trinity sermons, you can see and hear that the audio has increased, right? Like it's
Yeah.
gotten gradually better. Um,
Yeah.
and the reason for that is because the first time we used it, we used a conference mic. Second, we used the internal speaker of the live cam, which was better, but then it couldn't remove the feedback, right?
Mm.
And then finally, we moved to my other recording device. I have an H4n, a Zoom H4n, and then we mic'd it up to a shotgun mic, right? And so that points directly into Eric. And so it's able to remove both the noise from the
Right.
background. And there's something in the software called like a noise gate. So when sound reaches a certain decibel, right, the
Mm-hmm.
computer software knows that any sound that is below this decibel, it's going to chop completely off. So you don't hear that humming. You don't hear any
Huh.
of that buzz sound or whatever. You only hear the pure voice that we're
Voice.
projecting, right? So that's very important, right? So having that equipment, those are two basic things, right? The webcam
Yep.
and then the audio. So those are
Yep.
two different things. Um, and then the next and final piece is really your branding and your graphics. And usually I would have to walk people through explaining to why branding and all those things are important and why to keep it consistent and how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in your case, you already have it, right? Your stuff is, marketing material, your stationery, it's all already done. But a
Mm-hmm.
good idea is generally to making sure your branding content fits the aspect ratio of the video that you're making. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is that let's say that you take a cool image of someone helping someone else do a motion recovery action or something like that. But
Okay.
it's like, let's say it's like 12 by 12 pixels, which is really tiny, right? It's like a small thumbnail. And then you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to blow it up in your video. So what you're going to see is a bunch of pixels all granulated and all those types of things. So when
Uh-huh.
you're thinking about especially when you're live streaming or creating video content, you always want to have a high like aspect ratio. So the number of pixels for the particular like slide is of good quality, right? Otherwise, people look at your slide and you're like, nothing's sharp, right? Everything's kind of grainy and looks really uh, cruddy,
Blurry.
and
Yeah.
it's not professional, right? And when
Okay.
you have it to that degree, it doesn't look good.
Got it.
But those are just again minor points. If we want to get it to that degree, we can. But it's just those are things to think about, especially when you think about like when you if you go to our YouTube channel, right? I'll show you this real quick.
Okay.
Let
Oh
me
wait, you are recording this, right?
yeah, everything is
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, everything is being recorded right now. Let's see. Yeah, it's still recording. Just to make
Wait.
sure. Yeah, yeah, that'd be sad if I covered all this stuff. And let me see here.
That's good because I'm more of a visual guy. Like if I see replay the video again, it helps me
Yeah. No, I'm
hear it again, right? Especially it's the same day or the day after. It really helps.
right. No, I'm the same way too. So I'll share my screen. Um, And what you should be able to see.
What does it keep doing?
What's that?
Oh, it blanked out on me again. Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Oh,
Are you able
yeah,
to
I
see
see it
it?
now.
It takes
Yeah.
I think it takes a few seconds for it to hit, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
But the idea, let's say, you know, like I have the video playlist in here, but the idea is that when you create this content, you kind of want it to have thumbnails and things like that, right? So when you're posting all your videos onto YouTube, you kind of want it to be consistent. You want it to have a clear, like attractive thumbnail. So this is something for you to talk to your graphic designer, right? Whoever's designing your content for you.
Okay.
When you're
Okay.
creating your lessons and your plans, you kind of want to create something that is attractive, but very clean. You don't want that cluttery. So like, look at the difference between like "Be Thou My Vision" versus like the one below it, "Caring for Those in Need." Right? It's cool. It's a beautiful image, but it tells me nothing. It tells me nothing about your video. It tells me nothing about the lessons that you're about to teach me.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to think about that as you're creating content, graphics, and all those things have to be consistent,
That's good.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I like that. No, that makes sense.
yeah. So I'll stop sharing that, but let me see here. So I'll go back to the whiteboard. So that was the whiteboard for that information. So you saw how like I walked you through kind of three things already, right? The software, the
Equipment.
equipment, the branding, the graphics. And now let's just jump in. Let's just jump in. I'll show you kind of like the typical Sunday or this past week what it looked like for us.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll share my screen, my other screen. So I'll stop share from here. All right. So I'll do desktop on and I'll share. All right. So you see my main screen. I'm gonna move through. We're filling up right now, but I kind of want you to see this. Like when every single week, what we do with the team, we actually have three components. We have the main camera, which obviously pretty straightforward for us because it's just the webcam that we're sharing from. So you don't have to know about setup and all those types of things. We can talk about that in another session, like how do you set up the camera, making sure the lighting and all those types of things to make you look kind of good on the camera. But for the sake of today, all we want to do is walk through how do I get my content, live stream it, and then look at the preview, right? And then kind of like the rough end product. Okay, so that's kind of like the scope of today's walkthrough. So something that we've been doing, this is the next part. So we've talked about software, we talked about equipment, we've talked about like, just getting the basics up. But the next part that's really important is the workflow, right? What do I do every single week to gather all this information? And this is what we do at church. We actually have one folder called the Stream Team folder. And
Screen Team?
Stream Team. It's called
Stream Team.
Yeah,
okay.
Stream Team. Whatever you want to call that for your business, right? It doesn't have to be Stream Team, whatever you want it to be. But for us, that's what it's called. And this is shared actually with the worship team, the elements team, and also the video team, which is myself and Reinhardt helps out once in a while. But the idea is you want to be able to gather all of the elements that you're creating, right? So that's the graphics, that's the video, that's the PowerPoint, that is every single bits and pieces that you want inside of your video, gather it here.
Okay.
The better you organize it, the less headache it will for you when you hire somebody to help you through this process. They're not like, hey, Davis, where's this video? Hey, Davis, where's this thing? Hey, dude, they can't do their job if you don't have all their elements put together in one place, right? And so that's very important early on. I needed and the frustration in the beginning was like people didn't know how to share. People recorded, but they weren't quite sure of where to like direct it to me. So they kept on emailing it to me. And that's cool, that's great, but I spent a lot of time downloading and re-uploading, downloading. That's just a lot of time that you just burn, and you don't want that, right? You want it to be as smooth as possible. So that's why we wanted to centralize. I mean, that's an IT issue. You want to centralize all of your information into one place, make it accessible for all of your workers. And then thirdly, for your final production, you have all the information that so you can gather, okay?
All right.
So for us, by the way, just stop me whenever I'm like going too fast. Okay. So we have different folders here, as you can see. We have the worship videos, we have the MP3 files. Those are all of the files that you hear the music that comes in on Sunday. We gather it all here, right? So they get recorded, they get mastered by Phil and Chris, and then they forward me the final production song so that I can edit the music videos and put those things on, right? But for the sake of today, I'm not going to walk through all those things. I don't think they're necessary for you to know. But we're going to focus basically on three folders. Let me see. So we're going to focus on the Sunday elements. Okay. We're going to focus on the final production, and then we're also going to focus on. Let me see what else. I think that's good for now. Actually, only two. So we don't have too many folders that we need to worry about.
So everyone sends everything to Google Drive, and then you just see it, and they just put it in the appropriate folders. Their piece to the whole pie.
Correct.
Okay.
Like it is. It's much easier, right? When you and I sit down and broadcast, we want to get ready for the live stream. I'm not digging through my emails, where's that other file, digging through that thing. I know that if I click on this folder, I'm going to be able to find exactly what element is needed, the life and community piece, prayers of the people, scripture reading. And so a lot of this comes, good video editing comes in with just good organization early on. And it has nothing with organizing, right? It's not even the creative piece. It's just more of managing your pieces of information.
Okay.
So saves you time, saves you the frustration later on, right?
Okay.
So first part is understanding that you have elements. So those are basically for us, the pieces of life and community, prayers of the people, and any type of other miscellaneous announcements that Eric Kapoor or Eric Chappelle want. So for our sake, for this video, we're just going to look at the last week's service, right? So we have May 3rd service. And so as you can kind of see in here, we have a couple things. We got the scripture reading, we got the prayer elements, we got a potential YouTube video that EC wanted to share, but he didn't share in the sermon. And we got other repeats of the same file that we've edited, right? So generally, I try to keep this pretty organized. They're not labeled that well, but just because I'm working on it, I know which one is which, but I download these things, right? So I've gathered them online from all my coworkers or whoever, right? For your thing, whoever is creating your content, you gather into one space and then you download it onto your folder, right? To a specific folder. So
this is the May 3rd sermon folder, and you put all the little files in that.
Just the elements, right?
Okay. So, no particular order in that file right there, though.
No particular
that folder. Yeah. Okay.
And then the second one that I have is the final production, which is basically our worship songs. So after the worship songs are finished, like My Life is an Offering, Sorrows, God is Able. So this is all the files that have completely been mastered, have completely been edited, and we have like the songs are already in place, right?
Were the editing done by you?
Or was that done by me? Yeah, usually in the past 6 weeks, I've done it with Chris Song. So Chris Song has done a lot as well. And the last week, actually, we got Eddie trained. So now he's editing as well.
Oh, cool.
So Eddie did 2 of those things. I did only 1 of the songs, but he did a wonderful job on last week's work. So the idea here, again.
But you did tell him like, that's okay for a rookie.
I told him
it's okay for a beginner, but we'll accept it for now.
No, he did a pretty good job, if not better than what I did. So, which I was really thankful for, So right here, what I have.
That's the OBS, right?
Yeah, I have OBS open, but I want to show you this. Let me see here. OBS is open. Let me open up my downloads. A lot. All right. All right. We're just going to go. So this is kind of what I have, right? Typically on Sunday, when I come to the church computer, the office computer, I have a folder that's created in the downloads folder, but it looks kind of like this, right? Trinity Worship, May 3rd. I put the date on there, and I usually create three different items, right? Again, for your business, you have one for PowerPoint, you have one for graphics, you have one for, whatever video that you want to share, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, organization is key, right? For us, we do elements. So I download basically all the stuff. So I have, elements, prayers of the people here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I have graphics, and what that looks like is, it's just the background or whatever that I want to show on my broadcast, right? I usually have this graphic thrown on there to buy me time. You've seen this one, right?
Yeah. And then you just, on the thumbnail, you just superimposed like Eric Kapoor in front of that or something like that, or?
That's different, right? So yes, I mean, like I have that's like having a logo and then superimposing it on like the main camera picture, right?
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
show you how to do that as well. But for the sake of this thing, it's just really getting all your pieces together.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And part of that, yeah, you kind of want to have a logo, in place, right? So you want to have a logo of whatever it is that you want for your practice. Just stick it in the graphics folder, right?
Okay.
Okay. So worship songs, again, video, all your files located here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this helps when we open up OBS. So do you have any questions so far? Just kind of like what we're doing?
I'm just trying to piece it all together. Like I said, I like to hear it twice or three times, kind of absorb it. And so I may have some questions at the end, but I want to make sure you get it all out, and then I can,
Right.
So this folder section is just your Apple something, your own. It's not Google.
No,
so
this is a native folder that sits inside locally of my computer.
Okay.
Right. Can be in your desktop, could be in your documents, wherever you want to organize it. It's just one folder, right?
Okay.
So far, just to recap, we've talked about software, we've talked about equipment, we've talked about branding and graphics, and now we're talking about what we call this is the workflow, right? What does the workflow look like? And we want to be able to organize all those pieces together so that when it's time to present, it's easy, it's fast, right? And so, all right, so let's move on. So I have OBS open now, right? And so OBS is a great broadcasting software. There's many different platforms, as you already know. This is the one that we use, and so you're kind of familiar with this look already, right? How OBS works is that it requires different scenes. So if you and I were video editing, the logic would be similar, but it would be kind of different, right? But for the sake of OBS, we're going to talk about things in scenes, right? So like when you think about, let me go back to.
So this is, you can do the screen record from OBS from here right now.
Correct. So you see how it says start recording or something like that right there? You see that?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So start recording right here. But we're not going to record. Yeah, we're not going to record right now. So,
yeah.
But let me see here. Turn draw off. But so the idea. Let me see. Turn off this annotate. Okay. So the idea is that we want to be able to create different scenes, right? So the way that you can create these scenes, and the idea is you have a scene for whatever elements that you want to show in your video. You want to create a scene for that. And so for us, it's been the main camera, right? So I'll rename this to like main camera. I'll rename this to this one. Actually, this one's nothing. So I'll just delete that. Actually, I'll use the other one. I'm just going to delete this one. So the idea of like when you create a scene, you just hit that little plus sign, right?
Okay.
It allows you to create a scene. And for us, we have a scene for the main camera. We have a scene for, I'll just call it worship video.
Okay.
Worship video 1, that's what I have at church. I'll create another one, worship video 2, right? Because these are all elements that you want to be able to cue, right?
Okay.
In the right time that you need, right?
Okay.
Worship video 3. And then you want to create one for the graphics, right? So I'll just say main graphic. That's the one that you kind of want to bring in your logo or your page when you're, fading in and out, so that you have time to react. So you do that. I'll rename this guy to main camera. All right, and then I'm going to add like prayers of the people, right? So that's prayers of the people, and then I'll make one more life in, right? So different pieces. The idea is that whatever your final product is, it's good to understand or create like a table of contents, right, for your stuff. I'm sure you have that for your lesson plan.
Right.
The idea is to translate that into the slides, into the different scenes that you're going to offer, right? Obviously, it's going to look a little different, right? But the idea is to have a table of contents for your video so that you know when to key in each scene.
Okay.
Right. So for the main camera, you notice here that there's nothing, right? We don't see anything right now. We only see our ministry logo, How to Be Missionary-ish, right here. But let's say that you want to load that for your business. Notice here that I have a .png file, right?
Okay.
Bit technical, but the idea of that is when you have a PNG file, that type of file allows you to have blank space around your lettering, around your stuff, right? If you load a JPEG and you superimpose that, you're going to get that gray background as well.
You're going to get what?
You're going to get that gray background as well. You see how there's like a gray background or whatever?
Yeah.
On my logo.
Okay.
You want to have like a clean, I'm sure you already have this, again, built in your stationery stuff that you use to make your PowerPoint deck, right? So you want to make sure whatever your logo that you're using is a PNG file so that it doesn't have that weird gray box when it's superimposed on the video, okay?
Oh, okay, because
that's
the only difference is that How to Be would have been like a gray box.
Correct.
If we're on something else.
Right.
It wouldn't just be the font or the letters themselves
right.
superimposed on.
That's more of an aesthetic, right? That you kind of want to be able to.
Okay. And you can only do that with a PNG file. Is that right?
Correct.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So whoever your graphic designer, have that file ready so that you can superimpose that on your.
Okay.
Right. They'll know. Whoever's making your graphics should know that.
Okay, no, that's good.
Let them go if they don't know that, right? Like.
Okay.
So. The idea next is you want to be able to create. So I'll get rid of. So right now, let's say that I made this main camera thing. I have just imported the image, and how you do that is there's a little plus sign right here where it says sources. The sources is where your stuff is coming from. Okay, where the stuff is coming from, and so you can do that by doing a plus sign. And then you do image, right? Image, and then it's going to pop up this thing, and then you basically, again, browse, right? You browse to the one folder that you have put all your stuff into, right? And then you load it, right? So for us, it's Trinity Worship May 3rd. You go to graphics, and then you load whatever file that you wanted, right? And for this, we're loading the logo, right?
Okay.
Again, when you're doing this on a Sunday at church, I've already loaded all these things. You don't need to do any of this, right? You just need to switch in between scenes, right? When Eric comes in, I come in, whatever, you just need to be able to click between scenes. But for right now, we have the logo. Now let's load the camera. And so the camera that we're going to use right now is you have to go to video capture device. Okay. So
Okay.
you create video capture device, and then you want to select what webcam you want to use, right?
It could be your own webcam off the computer, or it could be something
Correct.
else. Okay.
Correct. It could be anything, right? And for us, we have a camera capture card. That's a different conversation. But the idea for you and for me right now is that select that camera. So for me, I'm going to select my webcam,
Yeah.
and I'm going to set it to high or to whatever dimensions that I want it. So I have 1280 by 720. That's probably fine. Um, Press
Do you have a
OK.
number that you recommend, or does it not matter, or why not just go high?
You can go high. I mean, I think you can definitely go high. It just sometimes it freezes or
Oh,
whatever. But for our sake, let's say I went high, so you see how the resolution's increased.
yeah.
Right? It's beyond the frame, and so what you can do is you can right click on the frame,
Uh-huh.
right, and then hit transform, and then center to screen, right. So you kind of center it to screen.
Okay.
To kind of just move in. But again, depends on your camera. I don't know
But
the framing, what looks good. You can shrink it if you want. You can shrink it like that if you want by pulling on the edges,
mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
But for us, for our sake, we're just going to do this. I'm going to do fit the screen so that you can see me, see everything. But let's say that I want to remove those black bars because I don't really like that. So I'll just drag it to the side and just keep pulling it until I have the framing that I like.
Until the bars disappear for your end.
Yeah, so the bars kind of disappear, right?
Okay.
And notice something, right? Like
Yeah.
my logo's gone, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that the layering of your elements are in sync. So in this case, you see how the video is on top. You want
Mm-hmm.
the image to be on top. So you want to highlight it and click that arrow to make it to be number one.
Ah,
Right?
one is the
Number
most
one.
the top
Thumb is
layer.
the farthest one. Number
Yeah.
two is this, and number three is this. And so you want to think about the progression of the layers,
Got
right?
it.
And so you have that as how to be missionary-ish on the forefront, and then you lock it. Make sure you lock this. This is very important because if you don't lock it and you accidentally click on it and drag it, and then everything gets moved out of place. And then when you're live streaming and that happens, oh man, that just
It's
looks
embarrassing.
it looks it just doesn't look great. Great.
Yeah, it
So
looks like God isn't real or something like that.
yeah,
He
you
doesn't
lose
exist.
followers and church members that way.
Yeah, no, can't even get the graphics right.
Hmm.
God can't be real. Okay, gotcha.
That's right. So you got that. You have the main camera. So the main camera set up.
Okay.
The second is to think about the worship video, right?
All right.
Worship video in the same way you load elements, but this time you load what's called media, right? Media source.
Okay. Now, wait, yeah, go ahead.
And when you load the media source, you again browse, go to your main folder, go to worship songs, and load My Life as an Offering, and press open. And then you don't want it to loop because you don't want it to keep playing. You just leave it, right? Just show
Mm-hmm.
nothing when playback ends. And it says restart playback when source becomes active, right? So you kind of want to leave that. And you press OK. And the cool part is next time when I switch from scene and I switch to worship video, I'm going to see this play. You see it? It starts playing,
Yeah.
right? Now, what do you notice? It's out of frame, right?
Right.
Because it doesn't look good. Again, if you play it like this and you stream it, that's what you see, right? So you don't want that. You go to, again, right-click the video, right-click, and then transform, and then go fit the screen, right? And again, lock it, right?
Lock it.
Lock
Okay.
it. So once you have that set up, lock it.
How'd you lock it? You just right clicked on it and said lock, or what?
There's a padlock in sources. So notice how I can click on it. You just have to
Oh, I see.
left click,
Oh.
padlock, lock. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Number two, do the same thing. Media source. Press OK. Browse. Manasaros.
Music.
Open. Okay.
And then fit to screen. So how did you do that again? Now it's off.
Right click, transform, hit the screen.
To screen. Got it.
Okay, locks. Okay, so you have this thing, it's locked, it's looking good. Number 3, if you have a third version video, same thing. I'm not going to do that because you get the idea, right?
How did you put the timing of it to sync the same time?
What do you mean by that?
So you did the one element was the had the words, and you fit them to the screen. You transformed, fit the screen, and locked it in. And then you went back, and then you got another element, which is that the singer file, right, with the singers on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you same thing. You transformed it, fit the screen, locked it, and now they're playing together at the same time. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Did that automatically happen that they're going to sync up at the same time, or
Oh, you mean like the singers and the video, the song lyrics and things like that? You're talking about that?
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
those
So
are two different files, right?
right. So these files are already pre-made. So
Okay.
I had a separate process to edit these videos, right?
Okay. Well,
So
go ahead.
no. So these videos are, you're asking like, how is it possible that these words are being matched to the singer's mouths and all those types of things? Is that the question?
Because they were two separate files, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they are two different videos, right? We have one
Right.
Man of Sorrows, right? And the other one is My Life as an Offering, right?
Yeah.
These are two different videos that we created separately outside of OBS, outside of anything. Like we've
Right.
timed it, we've cut it, we've edited it, and we created this video to be loaded. You're not really editing anything. You're not really adjusting any words or anything. Those things are already made.
Yeah. Oh, so then how did you have them load to play at the same exact time?
Like the words and the face of people.
Yeah. Right.
That's a separate conversation. That pertains to video editing, right? That pertains to understanding how to use video editing software, which is not what the purpose of today's tutorial is. The purpose of today's tutorial is really meant for you to gather, assuming that you've already created the content that you want to load in your live stream. So you're not making a video when you're doing a live stream. You're basically just showing the elements of pre-made products that you made beforehand during the week.
Right. Okay. So then, what if, let's just say, the top layer, the Eddie and the singers, like, and then the bottom video of the words. What if you wanted to have the one video come in sooner and then the second video come in a little bit later on OBS? Can you dictate that?
Yes. So you're asking, like, let's say that we're playing, this is what, Man of Sorrows, and you're asking, like, can it play another video to come in after Man of Sorrows ends, like kind of like what we see on Sunday?
Yeah. Or a third video, and then it's just kind of,
it just comes in.
Yeah. So and how do you dictate that on OBS?
That's a great question. So the idea is, like, once you create all of the scenes that you want, right? So I'll show you. So let's finish loading, okay? Let's finish loading all the elements.
Okay.
So again, prayers of the people, same thing. Media source. Basically, the media source is you're trying to load every video file that has been pre-recorded during the week, right? So in this case, we go back to our Trinity main folder. We go to elements this time, and we're going to prayers of the people. And so you go find prayers of the people, load that, press OK. That's Sohi. She comes in. And then life and community, I actually don't have that. So I'll rename this scripture reading. That is the file that I do have. So let's go down here, scripture reading, media source.
Are the scenes in order or not necessarily in order?
It will be, and it should be. but for the sake of what we're trying to do right now, we're just trying to get the stuff in, right?
Okay.
We're just trying to get the stuff in into here. So prayers of the people, life and community, sorry, scripture reading. It's okay. Scripture reading. Actually, I need to rename this. All right. Oh, it's not letting me. All right, so I have scripture reading. Again, Zoe looks kind of off. Go fit the screen, and then she's locked, and lock her in so that when you click on it, she doesn't move out of frame.
Perfect.
She's already good, looks good. So lock her as well. Okay. So now we have, main graphic. We got to load the main graphic. So main graphic is image. Okay. Same as a logo.
Okay.
Browse, graphics, and Trinity graphic. And press OK. See how it's super big? Again,
yeah. Fit the screen.
Idea. Transform.
Fit the screen.
Fit the screen. Perfect. Lock it.
Okay.
So now we have all these pieces. We have all the pieces that we need for basically the Sunday service to happen, right?
Okay.
So now we order, right? What is the order of worship? And for you, to translate it into for business, what is the order for your content, right? What is a lesson? When does my camera come in? I usually like to load all the stuff that I use frequently at the top, right? So you want to load main graphic at the top, and then main camera as a second, and then the order of what the videos come in. So you asked a question, great question, Davis, that you asked, how do I get one video and then, gradually push to the next one? So we've been doing it manually. So I watch whenever this video ends, my life is an offering, when it ends, when it fades into black, I know, okay, I need, give it a few seconds, load into the next, right? So I click on worship video 2.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you do PowerPoint, right? So instead of PowerPoint slides, you have scenes, and instead of just static scenes, you have moving scenes.
I see.
So it's important for you to understand like time, right? For if you're going to be like a one-man team, then you gotta have a clock and a timer and things like that to know when to switch and to stay on time. Or if you have an operator like Alice or somebody else who can help you, that'll probably take off the stress for you to both teach and also load your scenes at the same time, So I don't recommend that. If you do that, it's going to be really stressful. You can't focus because you need to be able to focus on creating your content and teaching your content, not teaching your content and load at the same time, So.
Okay. And then, if you, like you said, to get to the next video, you click on it as if like a PowerPoint, like you're going to the next slide, but then and the delay is like a couple seconds. You have to know that timing of how that happens.
Yeah, and you can set that, right? Like, see how I have, so take a look at with me to this side, to where it says scene transition. You see that?
Yeah.
So there's something that you can set. So I have it where each slide, the default is by 300 milliseconds. That's what the speed looks like from one scene to the next, by 300 milliseconds.
Okay.
Right now at church, we have it set by 800 milliseconds, only because I like it to breathe a little bit, so it doesn't feel like just abrupt of a side. Again, preference, right? No wrong or right way. It's just up to you.
Your own style. Well, what you want, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you have fade. Again, you can do cross dissolve or whatever. We just have fade because it's standard. That's what most people do and use, and the crazier transitions look kind of cheesy, unfortunately, And so pretty good, So those are kind of the ways in which we loaded the scene. So far, what you've seen is the workflow, right? So you've seen all the pieces that kind of working together to create the workflow. And now we've jumped into OBS, and what we've just walked through is how to load each scene. And the reason why this is important is so that you can be able to organize the content progression through the timeline, so that your audience can understand and hang on to what you're trying to deliver to them. Correct? So those are certain pieces that you kind of want to think about when you're organizing those things, because if you don't organize it ahead of time, your production is just going to look disjointed, and your students will just be distracted, and or your in this case our congregation will just be distracted if you can't fade from one way to the next. So a lot of it is just planning, right? Half the work is planning your content and getting all those things together.
Okay, so then for my purposes, if one scene or element is the PowerPoint itself, the 100 slides or whatever.
Great question. Yeah.
And then I do need a video after slide 25. I do need, some other thing after, how do I do that then?
That's a great question, and I haven't covered that yet. But that is one new feature that we've added into Trinity, as you kind of see the PowerPoint slides show up now.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at that right now. So again, we go back to the plus sign. That's kind of like where you need to go. Let me see here.
Plus sign in the bottom left. Oh yeah, okay.
Right there, yeah. So what you want to do is create another scene. Let's just call it PowerPoint. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. PPT. Okay. Load that in there. And since it's going to be something that you and I, both for the church and both for your business, it's going to be very similar. You kind of want to move that to the top once again, right? So you want to move that to main camera, main graphic up there. Okay. And then after you have that scene created, you want to go to sources. And then what you want to do now is say, go to where it says image slideshow. You see that? Image slideshow. Okay, so image slideshow. And in this case, you want to create it. It says visibility always, even when not visible, automatic. I usually keep the same. Fade, again, you can customize it. But the idea here is you have to load the images in, okay? You have to load the images in. And so when you open up your slide, your PowerPoint slides, in this case, I don't have the PowerPoint slide, but I'll just walk you through what I do. So I'll load the PowerPoint slide. If I can remember properly, I think it was in Word.
And they're loaded as images, not as the actual PowerPoint presentation.
Correct. You don't really have you don't want to do that. So let me go back. Let me remember. I think it was PowerPoint. PowerPoint online. I think it was on. Kind of got to get this guy loaded.
I'm waiting. Just kidding.
I know. Come on, man. All right. It's not. Oh, I gotta sign in.
How did you save it as images? What did you say to do when you go to a PowerPoint? If it's in PowerPoint,
yeah. That's a great question. As images? So that's what I'm trying to answer right now. Okay. So let's say you open up your PowerPoint, right?
Okay.
For us, Sides of Life, I'm opening up my PowerPoint right now. Right. Either you do this on your browser, whatever, but you want to go to File, and you want to go Download As.
Okay.
See that?
Download
as images.
Oh, okay.
Not as a PDF, not as ODP, not as a copy. Download as images, and then it says your presentation's ready. And again, workflow, right? Gonna find your Trinity workflow, and then you want to download that zip file in there, and those are all your images. So now we have the images. We have it loaded inside here. And again, I recommend opening it, creating another folder, renaming it, call it PowerPoint, whatever you want to call it. But if you can see, it's all loaded, right? It's all slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever.
Okay.
Right? And then jump back in to your image slideshow and scroll all the way down. And then what you want to do is add files, right? Or you can add directory. But
Add
we'll
files.
just go add files, and then browse for your PowerPoint, and then basically highlight all your slides, right?
Okay.
And then press open,
Then.
and it loads.
Yeah.
See that? It's like magic. So you just throw it on there, and it loads,
Uh-huh.
right? And it plays by itself, right? But you can tell it to not do that. I think you can tell it to slide mode can be manual,
Man, okay. Yeah.
right? So you want to change it to manual, and how you switch between slide is just use your arrow key on your keyboard, right? So you wanna let's say that I'm talking, go to PowerPoint, and then click on the PowerPoint, right? And then use your arrow key to select the next one. Except it's not working.
Aha.
Let's see here. Manual, use hotkey. I wonder what's wrong.
Now, how did you toggle back and forth from the PowerPoint image slide to talking, and then going back and forth?
You just click on the scene. It's really easy. So you hover your cursor over to main graphic, and then
to
you
main
click
camera.
on, you click on the PowerPoint.
Now, if you wanted to have your face just on the PowerPoint in the top right-hand corner or the bottom right.
Oh, yeah. So we'll talk about that after we figure out how to troubleshoot this. Let me see. I don't know why it's not.
What?
On display. Stop. We're not visible. Pause. Not video. All right. I'm gonna see if we can hotkey this thing. So because I don't think it's hotkeyed yet potentially. So
What's a hotkey?
So hotkey, great question, is shortcuts on the keyboard. Let's say that you don't want to click around, because when you click around stuff, you're just more prone to error, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see me mess up on Sunday service whenever I accidentally key in somebody else because I'm clicking and I accidentally click. Let's say I'm like, oh, I want main graphic, and I'm like, oh, main camera instead, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you hotkey, you're more likely to not make mistakes, right? You know exactly what those keys are for the specific function. And so for our sake, we're going to go and try to find switch to next scene. I'm just going to go to PowerPoint. So you know that slider there, PPT.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to hit the arrow there, the right-hand arrow as symbolic.
It's a hotkey.
Yeah, it's a hotkey.
Okay.
To move on to switch the scenes, right? You see how I can switch between the two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And it says show, and I think there's.
What's that one?
Do that.
Back.
It's not working. Wonder what is wrong.
So sometimes when you had those errors, it was that clicking. You actually clicked on the wrong thing, and so hotkeys kind of helps eliminate that mistake.
Yeah.
Because we've been praying for you about that too.
Yeah. That's what I need prayer for.
Like,
more than my
geez,
parents.
Lord,
That's what I need more.
those transitions are off, and Lord, I just can't concentrate. And
I know that was the difference between an altar call and like they just left. They just signed off. So let's see here. Stop when not visible. Restart when visible. You know, it's so weird. Stop when not visible. I don't know why it's not doing that. Let me see if I can reload it again. I don't know why it's not loading my slides properly. Yeah, it's normally really easy. All right, I'll re-add it again, but it's just good. I mean, like, you're just gonna have to play around with it before you see if I can add a directory. Okay. Manual.
So when the PowerPoint is going on, even if I'm not on the screen, can they still hear my voice?
Great question.
As they see the screen of the PowerPoint.
Yes, they can hear it because how you know
Uh-huh.
is basically here. See here where it says the
Yeah.
audio mixer, where I'm circling.
Yeah. It's
That's
going up
where
and
you
down.
know. If you see that being alive,
You're good
um,
to go.
you're good to go, right? So usually on Sunday, I have a separate audio line. In this case, in this example, we're not using a separate line, but this is something that you're going to have to do as well.
Okay.
Um, you're going to have to add, I don't know, I think it's something wrong with my keyboard, potentially why it's not triggering, right? But normally, once you load it, it's straightforward with a hotkey,
Okay.
and then you press next,
Okay.
and it should technically work.
Now, okay, this is so for the live streaming. If for some reason, if I was the one man show,
Hmm.
can I make this and will OBS record it? So I'm kind of just clicking the buttons and it's just coming. Graphics are coming, and then the PowerPoint, and I talk, and
It
then I
will it will
go
record
back.
everything once you hit start stream, right? Like when your stream goes live, everything will be pushed into YouTube, and YouTube will record it for you.
I see.
So you don't have to do anything, right? In terms of like worrying about like, oh, do I need to screen record or whatever? It's just going to record what you and I see in this slide, right? Like
Yeah.
main graphic to main
Yeah.
camera to PowerPoint or whatever happens in the screen, it's getting recorded and pushed online.
I see. Okay.
Okay?
And then you're saying YouTube records that whole live stream anyway.
Correct, correct. Because
Yeah.
once you load it, and I'll show you that in a second. But let's take a look at the audio because I think
Okay.
that's a very important question that you've asked. So the idea usually is main graphic. Cut off the audio. You shouldn't have any audio on here. Otherwise, when you can have this slide and you're talking trash, not that you do, but
Yeah.
let's say that you accidentally said something and
Uh-huh.
just doesn't sound professional, right?
Right.
So turn off that and you can
Where
mute
do
it.
you where do
Just
you
hit
mute
that
it?
little red button right there. See that like little icon where it has audio?
Okay.
Click on it, that will mute it, and then go
Uh-huh.
back to your main camera. And I'm going to show you right now how to load a separate audio stream. Right. So you want to be able to go to the plus button, go to audio.
Hey, you know when you did the graphic and you
Yeah.
muted it during the graphic, is it locked in there as always a mute?
Yeah, it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay mute.
It will. You don't have to lock a button on that or anything
No,
like
no,
you
no.
did.
It'll stay mute. That's the beauty of it.
Oh, okay. So whenever it hits that graphic, it's muted. You
It's
could
muted. It stays muted.
right. You
Um,
could pass gas. You could
yeah,
whatever.
you can do whatever you need to do. That's
Right. Okay.
right. So
Okay.
that's a great point. Yeah, you can definitely pass gas, and no one would
Yeah.
know.
So graphic. Okay. Just
That's right. um, so you go to main camera, and in main camera right here, you see that it's also muted,
okay.
right? Because you've turned it off universally. Um,
Yeah.
so we're going to add a separate audio input capture.
Audio input capture. Okay.
Yeah. And audio input capture, this is assuming that you've hooked up your H6N. Again,
Yeah.
you don't have enough time to talk about how to do that or what are you going to do to hook it
Right.
up. That's a
Right.
separate conversation. Once
Okay.
you hook it up, you can select for it. You can select it as a display audio, built-in microphone, USB microphone, whatever microphone that you want. For us, I'm going to just plug in display audio, press OK. How you know it's live, look at the bottom, audio input capture. Once again, right?
Okay.
Is it moving? If it's not moving, it's dead. Your audience will hear it.
So when I plug in my the H6 Zoom, plugged it in computer, and I go to set up another audio thing,
Okay.
and then I click on any of those built-in camera or built-in microphone or what do I?
Yeah.
Does
You
it not
have
matter?
to, right? Let me see here. Yeah, you have to hit the audio input capture, right? You want to select you basically do a plus sign and then you audio input capture. and then you display audio. Or I mean, I'm sorry, you basically select for the type of device where your audio source is coming from.
And then
If you connected it properly, it should display it for you. And for us at church, we connected the H4n. So you'll see H4n audio device and you select it.
Otherwise, what is it? Built-in microphone? Oh, no, no. It'd be a
built-in microphone or whatever. I'm just choosing, these are the audio sources that I have on my computer. It's going to look different for yours, Davis. So you're going to see different things. Okay. All right. So for our sake, I'm just going to select display audio because that's what I'm using. Checking it, audio input capture, connects it right here, right?
Okay.
So go back. Okay, so now we basically have everything, right? You want to have audio on your main camera. You want to have audio again. This one in your PowerPoint, you don't have it. So you want to have that as well on your PowerPoint. So what you can do, quick trick, is go back to your main camera, select the audio input capture, right click it and do copy. Go back to your PowerPoint and then paste add. Sorry.
Where is it?
A paste reference right here.
Oh, sweet.
So it just copies and pastes where you want audio to be on. So you're not redoing everything, right? And again, lock it, right? Because you don't want to delete it. You want to mess it up, lock it, right? So you want to once all the stuff is in, just lock everything. Okay.
Very good.
Okay. So I do not know why this is giving me so much trouble. I wish I could say that I knew.
It's okay. I totally forgive you.
Yeah. Thank you. You're a
gracious guy. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I'll let that slide.
So once you have that loaded, audio is good, everything's good to go. Now let's take a look. We're really close to live streaming now. So what I'm going to do now is go to our studio channel.
Channel. Okay. On YouTube.
Yeah, we're on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So our YouTube channel is on. This is the other piece of software that you'll need. This lives in a browser, obviously, but is to go to our studio channel right here, right? So studio.youtube.com, and make sure that you sign in to the appropriate account. Ours is Trinity, right? Your channel, because if you have it signed in wrong, you won't be able to access your stuff. So
did you allow, for safety purposes, it asks you if Studio can allow to record or...
Yeah.
You said yes. You just gave that up. It's no big deal.
Just if you want your stuff, you got to allow it to take it.
It's the cost of entrance.
Right.
Admission.
Right. And if you feel unsafe, then YouTube is not for you, right? Like, you kind of pay an arm and a leg.
Paranoid. Forget it.
You lose your anonymity that way. But
you got it.
So you got to create, right? Yeah. So create at the top right-hand corner.
Wait, do it again? I'm sorry.
So so let me draw.
Where's the create button? So this, you're already logged in. This is the Trinity Studio channel, correct?
Correct. I'm already logged in. So make sure that you're logged into whatever channel that you're trying to log in for YouTube.
Right.
And then what you do is you go to Studio right here.
Studio. I see. Okay. Yeah.
.youtube.com. Right. And then you go to where it says create and again go live. See that?
Yeah, the screen is in my way. Our screen of picture of the...
See that on the right-hand corner?
I see upload video. What's underneath it?
Go live.
Go live. Okay.
Okay, so you want to select go live. And here they annotate. So the new thing that's really cool is that once you create a stream, you don't have to recreate or recut and paste every single week. Okay, so you can actually just reuse it. So for our sake, I'm just going to reuse last week because we need to use it again.
Okay.
Right? So I'm just going to reuse last week. And it's cool because it loads with our description, right, from last week. I changed the title. So usually it's church worship, or I just call it, what is it, worship, live stream, something like that. And then with dash, with the date, I forgot what this upcoming date will be. But
Okay.
I'm just going to look at my calendar real quick.
Otherwise, this would have been just a new thing. It'd have been all blank if this is the first episode.
Yeah. There's nothing. There's nothing usually if it's the first episode. So our next coming is the 10th, right?
Okay.
So we are in 10th. May 10th is our next service. So this is something that you can do when you're in charge for our church as well.
Okay.
So May 10th, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Then you select what time is our service. 10
a.m. Okay.
So select 10. Where are we? 10 a.m. And then you go to May 10th. And then you can change thumbnail because EC is not on there every week. So again, if you have everything already in a folder, it's really easy, right? You just load up your worship element, graphics, and then you can select it. And it changes the thumbnail. So this one is Trinity Graphic. So I have that loaded.
The Trinity graphic. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
now,
oh shoot, it changed back. So I need to select the correct time again. 10 a.m. Okay.
Okay.
And then you want to always make sure that you select no, it's not made for kids. I mean, I know it sounds kind of awful, but it allows you to have the comment section. Does that make sense? So if you have it, yes, it's made for kids, and you live stream, you have no comment section, right? And our church can't interact with each other on Sunday, right? So when you see people say, good morning, good morning, good morning, right? Again, in our sake, select no, it's not made for kids.
Okay.
And then no, don't restrict my video to viewers of 18 only. It's fine because kids can watch it. And then press create.
Okay.
That's it. Right? So we now have the upcoming live stream service, episode 1. All right? So we have worship, Sunday worship, whatever. Yeah. Right? Actually, I change it to Sunday worship. I think I call it Sunday worship. Sunday worship live stream. Okay. So I have the name, everything. And so what you kind of see right here is the interface for what YouTube will pump out, right? And if the left-hand corner, this is kind of where your preview screen is.
Okay.
Right? This is where the stream key lives. Very important, right? This
the stream key. Okay.
Stream key. This is the key that allows you to use the streaming software to talk to YouTube. If you do not have this information, OBS cannot push to YouTube. YouTube will not allow anything. Okay.
So, okay. So you need that for OBS to talk to YouTube.
Correct. And I'll show you in a second how to do that. So let's clear that. I'm going to go and show you that we need to cut and paste that stream key information. So we'll unlock it. This is our stream key for this coming Sunday. Just hit copy. Successfully copied.
Do it again.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now I'm going to go to OBS.
Oh. Can you do it one more time? I'm sorry. Sorry. I was looking at something else.
Go to copy, right, where it says stream key, paste, and encoder.
Okay.
Right? You see that where it's all like, because you don't want to share that with anybody. Copy it.
Copy.
And then you go to settings.
Where's the settings button?
Settings. 1 second. It's on the bottom left-hand corner of OBS. But let me just circle it so you can see it. So down here, right where the controls are.
Oh, bottom right.
Go to settings. You see it?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Circled it. Okay.
Click it.
Click it. Yep. Click on that. Let me see. Clear drawings. And then I'm going to go to settings, click on it. It's going to open this. And then you want to select where it says stream.
Okay.
Okay. And see
Okay.
where it says stream key?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you want to plug it in. So you want to copy and paste your stream key into here.
The one you just copied from YouTube.
Correct. Correct.
And
So that,
there's
yeah, that allows you to talk to YouTube. Gives you permission
so
to do that.
right. So this stream key, when you went on there was already a stream key on there, wasn't there?
There was because that's for our channel, right? Our channel, our missionary-ish channel had a stream key.
Oh, so did
I'm
you
just
erase that
I
and
erased that.
paste
I
it
plugged in our Trinity one,
for
and
May 10th?
correct. And that will be the same actually. Moving forward from every Sunday, it will stay the same. So as long as you don't change it,
Oh, I see.
right? You get one key for that channel, right?
Okay.
Okay, and then you want to select the service. You got a bunch of different types. You got Restream.io, Facebook. Well, ours is pretty much YouTube/YouTube Gaming. And then you just select the primary YouTube ingest server.
Mm-hmm.
And then the output, this is, I'll get into this next time.
Okay.
But the idea is that you kind of want to stream your video at 30 frames per second. Okay. Or 24. I mean, like usually it's 30, right? If you stream at 60, it's going to lag your video because usually the only people that stream at 60 are gamers because they're trying to get all the frame rates and the pieces so that when their consumers watch their video, it's getting every single piece of graphic without losing that latency. Okay. So, but for our sake, 30. Our aspect ratio is at 720 here, but usually when I do it at church, it's actually at 920 by 1080. That's 1080p. That's considered HD. Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And and 1280 by 720 is at 720. And then you have 4K, which is at 4000. Right.
That's the what was that again? The
Aspect
resolution?
resolution.
Aspect,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So
Aspect ratio or aspect resolution or
sorry,
what?
sorry. That's the resolution, how many pixels you have on your screen. Okay.
Okay.
And the aspect ratio is going to be like, like the normal CRTs that we had in the 90s or 80s was like 4:3. It's like a square, right? But most of us do landscape, and so we want to do it at 16:9. That's like usually the default that YouTube is at.
Okay.
And then that's it. You press OK, and notice how your slides are screwed up. And the way that this happens, I don't know why. I think there's a glitch sometimes that does this. So you can just unlock it and just center again, right? Just fit the screen, transform, fit the screen, lock.
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
How did you get the graphic, like you said, that background, and then have the person talking in front of the graphic?
That's a great question. We usually, what you can do is you could take your main camera. Sometimes even if you lock it, notice how because we were messing with the graphic.
It didn't fit the screen.
It's getting screwed up, right? It's getting so we messed with the aspect ratio. So what you want to do here is just unlock all your stuff. I'm just gonna go fit the screen. I screwed that up, so everything's screwed up. But that's okay. So select your video again, transform, fit the screen.
Okay.
General idea. Okay, so you got that. Lock it.
Lock it.
So what you do is you take the video capture device, select it, copy.
Video capture device. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go into main camera.
Yeah.
Right click under video capture device and copy it.
Okay.
Okay. And then go to PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And then go to your sources, click so that you don't click in the black part so that you don't highlight any of them. Right click. Paste reference. Got it?
Okay.
Paste reference. So you see how it adds a video capture device underneath?
Okay.
And then you can shrink it. You see that?
Yeah.
You see that? So now I can click between slides and you can talk as you're explaining things.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other thing would be, you had like the background graphic of the logo or whatever, even on the thumbnail, and then you had. Can you have that as a background and the speaker speaking in front of that main camera?
Yes, you can. You
How do
can.
you do that?
Yeah, you just do the graphic and then the same idea, the same concept I just showed you. You have the main graphic, right?
Yeah.
And then after you copied your main camera, like by going to video capture device, right click, copy, go to your graphic, click on the black portion, paste your reference in, and then there's your graphic. And you have a mini camera.
I see.
You see that?
Yeah.
I do have to go in a little bit.
Oh,
but,
yeah, that's fine.
But just to kind of show you, like, just to kind of like a quick snapshot of like, we've drank out of the fire hose today for sure. You've just picked up years of just information that's been accumulated. So I understand if it feels like a lot,
My head's hurting, but yeah, it's good stuff though. It's awesome.
Yeah. So this is all like industry stuff. This is all IT stuff. Now you have an idea of like of what goes on when we produce. There's so many moving parts. You got the IT side, which is content management, what we already talked about. You got the creation side, which is the video, audio, visual stuff, and then you got the organizational side of things, right? Just putting stuff into folders, making sure all the pieces are coming together so that whoever's producing your content for you or you're producing it, it's organized. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's test and then we'll close with that. Sound good?
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Okay. So, so now I'm going to start streaming. So where is the button for starting to stream? Right. That button is right here. You see it?
Okay. Start streaming. Yeah.
Start streaming. So what we'll do is we'll hit that button, and what you're going to see happen. It might lag our connection because I'm going to push out information on my internet connection, and it'll lag our Zoom a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So you see, it's pushing out. It's pushing out about 2,000, 2,100 kilobytes per second. You see on the where it says green. It's a good sign.
Okay.
These are things that you want to be looking at, Davis, because if you don't pay careful attention to these pieces, your information will lag.
Okay.
Okay.
Will it be like orange or red if it's not really a good stream, or the green is not green?
It's going to be yellow, or frame rates are dropping, and it might drop in our example because I'm streaming live and I'm also talking to you on Zoom, right? So it's you're making the internet connection work really hard, right? So see how it says 12 frames are dropped? That's 0.8%. That's actually not bad.
Okay.
This is green. That's very good. It's been live for how long? And then you want to make sure it's 30 frames per second. Okay? You got all that? Those are things that you constantly want to check and make sure that they're not getting hiccuped.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna go back. Let me see if I can stop this annotating. All right, I'm gonna go to YouTube now. And what you see is that the left-hand side is streaming, right? That's the preview window. You see that?
Yeah.
You see how like there's a graphic there?
Yeah.
And it's working. You can pull the volume. It's going to play something, but I'm not going to do that because it's feedback. So what you can do is you can plug in headphones to listen to your live stream happening.
Okay. No, but I thought you already set it for 10 a.m. on Sunday. How are you live streaming it right now?
Great question. So the logic is there are two pieces. There is live preview, and there's actually live for your audience. Okay? What we're looking at is just purely for us, for quality control sake. Is the stream good? Is it solid? Is it projecting what I need it to do? And is the audio clear and crisp? Those are things that you need to think about. Okay.
Okay. So YouTube will not, can you have the option to, will it record the preview of the whole thing or something?
Correct. It's actually recording it right now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's actually recording it right now. Notice how like if I blow it up, you can see how I'm talking to you right now, right? Like I'm moving my hands, I'm moving all those things. It's a little grainy, but because you're streaming live, when you play back your recording, it's going to be very clear. Okay.
Can you blow up that preview to have a big clear preview instead of that tiny little screen and go through the whole show front to back as a full preview and to analyze it or something like that?
Correct. So before you go live, and how you go, and let's say that after you have it, like I'll switch some screens so that you can see. Let's say that I will click to the worship video now.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes about 20 seconds. 20 seconds for it to hit. Like that's something that we have told the audience, right? So Eric says something at the office, and it takes 20 seconds for it to reach you guys. Okay. Still there, Davis? Okay, I gotta stop this. Davis, you still there? All right, let me see. All right, let's wait for Davis to come back in. I think we lost him for a second. Oh, his computer just died. All right, so we'll conclude with that. The idea for this, and I'm just going to record the rest of it. So the idea is that you've have the preview playing, and it takes about 20 seconds for everything to load. And once things load, you can actually see everything, right? You can see on the left-hand side that, you know, what you want, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing, my soul, my mind, my strength. Okay, it's working. And then once you have that set, you can go live, right? You just have to hit go live, and it will go live, right? So that's actually on the right-hand corner, right? So when you go live with the OBS software happening, that will push out the stream into YouTube, and it will be shared with everyone else. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it. So I'm going to stop share right now, and I'm going to conclude our Zoom call and save this as a video for next time. So that was session 1. Thanks again, Davis, for making it. We're gonna cover a breadth of other clarity for next time.